Welcome to the Black Sparrow Media Internet Broadcast Network.
You are listening to Linux in the Ham Shack. LHS is a podcast about Linux, open source, and amateur radio, for everyone. Now here are your hosts, Cheryl, W5MOO, Russ, K5TUX, and Bill, NE4RD.
Well, hello everybody and welcome. You have tuned in to episode number 593 of Linux in the Ham Shack, the most terrific amateur radio podcast on the internet. And tonight you have joined us for our Weekender episode. This is the 133rd edition of the Weekender. So thanks very much for being here. We really appreciate that. And before we dive on into our random picked topic and our hedonism segment for tonight, we will go ahead and introduce ourselves. I am Russ, K5TUX.
I'm Cheryl, W5MOO.
And I'm Bill, NE4RD.
I almost started the Cheryl's not here thing and realized, oh, she actually is here.
And for the on assignment, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Right. And for the on assignment, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing we do when we do a Weekender is we hit the random picker wheel button. And I think based on earlier testing, we will actually hear it tonight. So always good. It will pick us a random topic to discuss, and we shall discuss it. So here we go. Okay, this is a topic we tackled in our deep dive, and I don't know if we want to tackle it again. It's thoughts on modern mesh VPNs.
You said that. You said that earlier. Oh, it's going to pick this one. We don't need this one.
All right. Since we just did a deep dive on this, and we also did a deep dive on NetBird, and we have done, or not NetBird, but the other one.
Tailscale.
Yeah, the one that's escaping me right now. It's funny how every time I want to pick a word out of my head, it is gone. So since we just did that, we will leave this on because I think we'll all sort of work with these mesh VPNs more over time. We'll leave it in the list and we'll come back to it. But we're going to have to do a quasi-rare do-over. So here we go. Okay, so this, I believe, was a user-contributed topic. It is favorite chases on the air, grids, counties, contests, or what have you. So this will probably go reasonably quickly. We can discuss the things that we like to do on air when it comes to chasing things and collecting things, like the collector. We can make it sound creepy if we want to, I guess. So when we're on the air, what kind of things do we like to chase? So I guess I'll start off with POTA. That's been my new favorite, and I think it's the favorite of a lot of people anymore, chasing those parks on the air, because there are so many of them, and there are so many people doing POTA, and there are so many different awards you can get, and it's so easy to do POTA that everyone's doing it. So obviously I like chasing POTA. I like getting the awards, because you can they'll like light up a park for a weekend or do a weekend special event, or there'll be classes like you can do the evening class or the morning class, and you get, your little certificates for those. And the best part about it is you don't even have to keep track of your own logs. They do it for you. And then they just send you little certificates in your email to show you all the wonderful things you've done in POTA. So I'll start with POTA. What else do you like to chase, Bill?
I thought you were going to go to Cheryl. Cheryl, what do you like to chase on the air?
Cheryl doesn't chase on the air, but we are going to work on that. We've changed a few things in our lives this week, and one of those things is I'm going to make her get on the air. She doesn't know that until just now, but
well, that's not going to work out very well if it's a surprise.
Well, we'll see.
It's about time you did something, for crying out loud. You're a general
Even
class
it's
amateur.
just chasing DX, right?
Or something.
Well, the thing is, like right now,
worked all states.
Yeah, worked all states would be good. Right now is Route 66 on the air. We know people who are doing that here locally. So
Because we have Route 66 that runs through 5 miles away, 10 miles away. But
so, we just have to, you'll talk to anybody unless it's using a microphone. So we need to work on that. We can start you off easy with doing stuff like we'll getting you into FT8 where you don't actually have to talk to anyone, but you can sort of get a feel for how it works and make some contacts, maybe in some cool places. And then you'll see how cool it is and you'll want to do it more.
Okay.
Yeah, that is like please stop talking to me about this.
Uncomfortable, awkward.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
That's funny.
So I'll go to break this up. When I'm just generally operating, I don't chase anything. I know that sounds weird, but I don't really like if I'm going to get an FT8, I just hit CQ and then whatever comes to me comes to me. Occasionally I chase like 6-meter contacts. When the band's open, I get a notification. If I hear something, I'll start transmitting and maybe work some 6 meters. I guess that's a bit of a chase. And then primarily, like when I chase things, it's most likely in the context of a contest. So if I'm doing a contest, then I'm chasing the people that are also in the contest, and I do that. But I don't really go for like POTA, SOTA, look for specific contacts or anything else like that. It interests me, but I don't find myself like being drawn to doing that. So basically it's contests and 6 meters, I guess, is basically all I really, really chase.
So what are the contests you prefer? Because, there's a million contests out there. So there's probably a couple or maybe a few that you gravitate towards.
Yeah, I used to be really hot and heavy on the NAQP contest, but I've taken like the last 2 series off, but mainly that's because of antenna woes. My dog ate my coax kind of story. But I do have a new antenna up, and I've kind of been playing around with it. So I'm gonna get back into a groove of stuff. Generally, I don't really do the DX contests. I like doing stateside stuff. So sweepstakes is normally my one that I like to do, both the CW and the voice one, and then the NAQP stuff. So basically, US contests. I've done the 160 contest. I've done a bunch of contests, but just mainly like the U.S. contest. I don't really try to go for the DX stuff because I don't really follow up on that stuff very well unless they just confirm with Logbook of the World or something like that. I don't do that.
Yeah, fair enough. I've done the CQ Worldwide single sideband a couple of times, and that one's pretty good. I like that one. And I'd like to do some more stuff with digital that's not FT8. Back before FT8 was a thing, I used to do PSK 31 and stuff like that, and RIDI. And I'd actually kind of like to switch back to doing some of that instead of just taking the lazy way out every time. But by proxy, because I use Grid Tracker, I do like to chase grids. I like to chase grids just because it's right there in front of me and I can see. So I would like to be able to like work all US grids at some point. And on a couple of bands, I'm probably about half of the way there.
Nice.
So I don't do it like I'm not sitting around going, ooh, I need to get grid DM17 today. But when Grid Tracker is in my face, I definitely try and look for the grids that I don't have. So,
well, that takes like an effort of configuring your thing so it it alerts you or whatever, designates which grids you actually need. Then, right?
Yeah, but it actually sort of does that by default. If you can, without doing any configuration at all, it will highlight uncontacted or non-confirmed grids. So yeah, it's super easy to get into that. You literally have to turn that off if you don't want to see it. So, but yeah, other than that, I don't really chase anything that I can think of. I'm working on worked all states, like on a single band and mode. I already have it mixed. I just haven't, applied for the certificate or anything like that. But it would be nice to have a complete single band, single mode worked all states. I think that would be an accomplishment. So in a way, I guess I'm chasing that too. And one of these days I will chase like actually doing some CW because everyone's kind of on my butt about it. It's like, you're doing Morsel every day. Why aren't you working any CW? It's like, because Morsel's easy and CW is hard. So,
yeah.
String 1 5-letter word, not so bad. Actual having a conversation, yeah, that's a bit tougher.
Yeah, I think the only state I have, or the only band I have worked all states on by band is 40 meters. Apparently, I have worked all states on 40. I have it mixed in
single mode
voice and. It doesn't show. Let's see, 40 meters. 40 meters. It must be mixed. Phone is only 40 states. CW is 43 states. Digital is 48 states. 44 on JT65. Hey, how about that? Throwback. 5 states on JT9. I have 2 states on PSK31. 36 states on 40 meter RIDI. So look at me.
Oh, that's I probably have like 8 total contacts on JT9.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I have 7 states on JT9, apparently. That's pretty funny. 50 states on JT65 and only 49 states on FT8. That's embarrassing.
It's kind of weird that way, at least in my operating practice, because I have tons and tons of contacts on FT8 and I have like 100 on FT4. But
I only have 2 on FT4.
And I may have, a whole bunch of contacts on PSK31 and then a whole bunch on JT65, but very few on JT9, even though they use the same application and,
Well, PSK31 doesn't.
No, I'm talking about JT65 and JT9.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So like I could do JT9 just as easily as JT65. I just don't.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't have a triple play yet either. That's the other one I don't have. Nebraska CW. I'm coming for you one day. I won't apply for the award. It's like the one thing I'm missing on my triple play. So that's crazy.
Well, even if you don't apply for the award, at least you'll know you've accomplished it. So
yeah. Yeah, and I haven't really like I say, when I moved here to Montana, which was like 15 years ago now, I really didn't chase anything. It's like I could have went for my new worked all states and stuff like that, and I was like, it'll just happen. If it happens, it's not like it's that big a deal. Because I know a lot of people do like the all state, worked all state nets or whatever, and try to get all their states as in some kind of fashion, or maybe they work the QSO parties, which I would recommend for doing that. The QSO parties, I think, would be the best way to kind of get all your states plus get you activity throughout the year. But I never really did it. But like I've literally had this 149 on my triple play for probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now. It's like for some reason I have not worked Nebraska on CW since I moved here. So 15 years of ham radioing.
Maybe this will spark you to spend the next like however long doing nothing but trying to get Nebraska on CW.
Yeah, just a CQNE. Come back.
It's funny because I want to get worked all states on a single band, single mode, and I do sometimes get on those worked all states like H and OMIS and 3905 and those. But when I do that, I do it to give other people their call signs. I don't really try to work mine. I just do mine organically. So
I have 46 states on 80 meters. Wow. I have 26 on 160. That's the one I'm going to work on. I'm going to work on 160. That's it.
160 is hard for me because I don't really have an antenna. I mean, my NFED will do 160, but I don't. For some reason, I don't get a lot of propagation on 160. So
we'll have to try because I don't have Missouri. So
hey, there you go. We'll give it a shot. And Mike said something about QRP yelling into the void. I don't know. Is that like the definition of QRP, yelling into the void, or is that what you're chasing?
Yeah, chasing the void.
Old man shouting at clouds.
He's probably talking about me because I'm not doing DX contests because I'm always QRP.
Oh yeah, well you like QRP, so
Yep, yeah. For contest, it's the winner, the cheat mode to getting ahead.
Right, because everything's like worth multiples when you're QRP, right? So,
well, yeah, and then it's a smaller number of players involved. So if you're trying to get awards or something like that, that's kind of like the cheat mode. So just be a class that nobody else is, or a limited number of users go into, and then you can just game the system that way.
yeah, and I don't do the other stuff. I don't work a lot of contests. I don't do the other OTAs. I don't do SOTA, IOTA, so on and so forth. So I don't know, and I only got into POTA tangentially, so maybe one of these days I should try doing some SOTA or something. Maybe I'll actually talk to Gene since he works SOTA all the time. Yeah, that's kind of my chasing. Cheryl doesn't chase at all, obviously. And,
well, that'll change.
Well, we'll see. I'd like it to change. We'll see what happens. All right, well, I guess that's it. Listen, anyone who's in the chat wants to contribute to what they chase, if anything. If not, we will, or while we're waiting anyway, we can move on to some hedonism. We'll bring Cheryl in here because when we talk about hedonism, we talk about food because, everybody's got to eat. And this is one that we both think we have not done, or she has not done. And it's one we had about 2 weeks ago, and it's incredible. So it's worth talking about. So we'll let her talk about it. Oh, Jared, W7AQB in the chat says he chases POTA. Yep. Way to be with the rest of us. 95% of the ham community is probably doing POTA right now and little else. So, it's everybody gets on the bandwagon, and I'm no exception. So, probably time to try something new. But anyway, Cheryl, what do we have on the food docket for the evening?
Our food docket tonight is fisherman's pie, and
you have to throw in the first part of it.
The effin' fisherman's pie.
That's right. Effin' fisherman's pie. It's not just fisherman's pie.
Okay, so yes, tonight is effin' fisherman's pie. This is a dish that Russ continually orders at a local, and local is 150 miles each way away, Irish pub. So a few weeks ago, as Russ mentioned, I fixed it for dinner. And I think he's decided we might not have to do that 300-mile drive anymore, at least for this dish. So for the ingredient list, you need unsalted butter, portobello mushrooms chopped up, green onions, garlic, white wine, all-purpose flour, some seafood stock or clam juice, heavy cream, Old Bay seasoning, kosher salt, black pepper, shrimp, scallops, and some cod fillets that have been chopped into bite-sized pieces. And for this, since it is essentially a pot pie, you need some phyllo dough to go on the top of it. So, and the rest of the ingredients, or not ingredients, excuse me, the rest of the recipe will be in the show notes because it's a little long. It's not terribly complicated, but it is long. So, and for my drink corner, since we're kind of talking about something Irishy, I picked Shamrocked, which is a Midori liqueur, Irish whiskey, and Irish cream cocktail. So, and for that, you shake and strain over ice into a double old-fashioned glass and top it with some whipped cream and some fresh mint. So
does it end up green?
It's a light green color, yes.
Oh, okay. Light green.
There's nothing wrong with green cocktails. Some of the best ones are green, like liquid marijuana. If you haven't had one of those, you should look it up.
Thinking like the melon ball, which is like mostly Midori.
Right.
Yeah, also the Pearl Harbor, I believe, is green. So I haven't had one of those. Well, I haven't had a cocktail in general in forever that I can think of. So, when she talks about these, it's like, I really want to try one. And then I'm like, whatever. So
what's the marijuana one called?
Liquid marijuana.
Liquid marijuana. Okay.
It's basically everything, including the kitchen sink and a glass.
So, it's a fruity one.
Yeah, but it's got Midori and
curacao,
like
rum
and curacao. Yeah,
it's sweet and fruity and green. So there you go.
And strong.
Oh, yeah, you get it with the strong THC, of course, right?
Not so far. Because we used to order those at the bowling alley, and I don't think getting high would have been helping my score any. So.
Well, you never know.
Probably not.
Well, yeah, that's true. You do never know. Maybe I get way better. Who knows?
Might have helped your knee.
Oh, all right. Well, it would probably feel really good. I just don't think it would help me pick up a spare. But, well, maybe someday we'll find out. In the meantime, I will talk about some scotch I just bought. And I have not bought scotch in a long time, but they just opened up a Total Wine near us. So we no longer have to go to Kansas City or St. Louis to go to Total Wine, which is wonderful. And I was looking for something to buy, and I have been buying bourbon and other whiskeys for a long time now, and I've been reviewing those for a long time. I figured it was about time to go back and buy a scotch. I couldn't figure out what to buy. I looked at about 10 different things, and what I wound up with is one that I'd heard of that was really good a long time ago, but I'd never tried, so I picked it up. And this is the Anock, which is, despite how it's pronounced, spelled ANCNOC, 12-year single malt scotch. And this is one of the lightest 12-year scotches I have ever seen. I don't know what they're aging it in. I don't know if it's like uncharred oak or something. I did look and see it's actually aged in 2 different kinds of barrels, but I have already forgotten what those are. One of them, of course, is American white oak, and then the other one is whatever. Anock says of this dram, it's renowned the world over, so it must be good, right? Known as a must-have in the whiskey drinkers collection, so I, of course, didn't have it for 10 years. It's light and yet complex, smooth and approachable, with each twist and turn delivering a surprise. Okay, this is not that surprising. Just going to have to disagree here. This is a dram that has something for everyone. Our flagship single malt is the perfect starting point for those beginning the exploration of whiskey. And maybe if I was just exploring the whiskey world, that might be true. So details on this: mash bill, 100% malted barley, of course, because it is a single malt scotch. It comes from Aberdeenshire, Scotland. It's bottled at 43% or 86 proof. It is a very, very light color. And I'm going to call it very pale amber with a slightly yellow hue, so we don't say pea yellow, because that's kind of what it looks like. So the color, does sort of belies what's in it, because it's actually a pretty good scotch. The nose on it has notes of honey, lemon, salt, light aromatic herbs. And at the very beginning, when I poured this into the glass, it was super light. I was almost getting nothing. It's only been in the last 5 or 10 minutes that it's sort of started to give off a nose, but those things are in there. Bike Me says, call it straw. Yeah, straw. Straw's pretty accurate. Thank you for that. The taste on it, though, is much better than the nose. It has some sweet, nondescript fruitiness. I would call it light fruits, not dark fruits, more of your pear, apple, that kind of thing. Some melon, a little grassy, some saltiness, a little honey, and some light citrus. And this gets more potent as it goes on. Like the nose is light, the taste is medium, and then the finish is where you get all the flavor. On the finish, it's a medium length. You get hints of smoke. You get some black pepper, some chili. This is not like, chili, the stew. This is chilies, like the peppers. And a creamy white chocolate note, which is actually quite good. And that pepperiness kind of sticks on the tongue for a while, which makes what could be a pretty uninteresting scotch much more interesting. It's kind of one you want to chase. It makes you want to keep sipping it, because you know that as the drink goes on, you're going to get more out of it. So in that way, I kind of like it. It's reasonably inexpensive. I think it's about $50 a bottle. So you may be able to find it for a little less than that if you're careful about it. It's definitely worth a try at the price. It's not the most interesting scotch I've ever had, but it's a pretty good one, and it's one I think I could go back to more often than maybe some others. So I'm going to give it an 87 on the 100-point scale, and not bad for a $50-ish 12-year single malt. So I don't know if everyone's going to like it or want to keep it in their collection, but it's absolutely worth a try if you like scotch at all. So that's my thoughts on Anock 12-year single malt. And Bill's dumping some stuff here in the notes, so we'll get to whatever he's drinking.
Yeah, I figured I'd add a few more interesting bits anyway. Yeah, this one is the head frame spirits. So this is from my trip that I went over to Missoula and stopped in Butte, Montana, and there's a nice distillery there called Headframe Spirits, and this was the other bottle that I bought. So the last time I talked about the first bottle, this is the second one that I bought, and this is their Never Sweat Distillers Select Bourbon Whiskey, and it's a 7-year bottled whiskey. The ABV on it is 67.7%. So 135.4 proof, if I did my math properly. So you can correct me if I'm wrong. From the website, or I think it's even on the side of this, a perfect glass of whiskey begins with grain. Through mashing, fermenting, and distilling, our distillers pay expert attention to detail. Sometimes the barrel itself adds something special. When great whiskey meets great wood, that deserves to be shared as is. Single barrel, cask strength, distiller select. A hand-chosen barrel from us to you, a headframe tasting room exclusive. So yeah, this is something you can only buy when you actually go to the distillery. And yeah, it's a beautiful color. It's really nice and dark. And well, here's what they say. The tasting notes. The nose is vanilla and oak. That's pretty uncomplex. And the palate, they say, is subtle, rich notes that will unlock different flavors in each sip. Suspicious. The grain bill is proprietary blend of corn, rye, and wheat. And they have won an award with this, the 2023 Bronze International Wine and Spirits Competition. So yeah, it is definitely I poured this glass at the beginning of the podcast, so it has tamed down quite a bit, but it is very like alcohol forward in the nose. Almost to the point it was like burning my nose when I was sniffing it. I mean, now it's kind of tamed down, and yeah, I get that vanilla and oak and everything else, but still a ton of alcohol in there. The taste, let's see here. Wow. Okay. Yeah, a lot of burn. Yeah, this is something you definitely want to downproof a little bit. The flavor would be really good if it weren't for that burn of the alcohol that goes with it.
If you could taste it.
Yeah, I mean, you could taste it. That's the thing, is you can still taste it, but like that burn is just so, I mean, it just punches you in the mouth. Yeah, it's not as good as the other one. The other one is definitely good. I don't think that one's as high a proof, even though it's cask strength too, but this one is, probably drinkable with a couple of ice cubes in it, and would probably be excellent. Because it has a nice taste profile. It's just that, yeah, the alcohol is so high that it isn't covered up by the flavor, unfortunately. So beyond that, it wasn't much more expensive than anything else. I think the other one was like $59 or something like that. I think this was the same thing. So for a 7-year-old, definitely looks 7 years old. But yeah, would I get it again? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's good. It's just it's quite burny. So there it is. Headframe Spirits, Never Sweat Distiller Select Bourbon Whiskey, 7-year-old.
All right, very good. Obviously, you think the other one was better so far.
The other one was, drinkable neat. This one might need a little bit of help.
A little tamer, yeah.
Something that just bring it back down to like realistic numbers, yeah.
All right, very good. So with that, we have come down to our topics for the evening, or through our topics for the evening, I should say. So we're into announcements and feedback. We do have one bit of feedback, and this came from YouTube, the apparently very popular Commodore OS Vision 3 video that Bill did about a distribution that he used like once and never again. So, but, the video's out there. So someone, RadPet7, on YouTube, asked, how long does it take to do an update all? And my guess is you don't know because you didn't do it.
I did it once. Once, like right out of the box, and it was like 700 some odd packages. And I had hotel internet at the time, and I don't recall it taking very long. So, it all depends on your internet connection. Like I just did right before the podcast, I did 117 packages in 14 seconds on my laptop here, or on my desktop. It depends on your system and your internet connection. I mean, 800 packages at that speed would be like under a minute, maybe a little bit longer to process and update, maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So it all depends. All depends on your system that you're putting it on. It's Debian, so it takes as long as any other Debian binary package takes to update on your system. So you can pretty much do the math yourself.
Yeah, before I ripped Ubuntu off of Cheryl's computer and put Manjaro on it, I did a do release upgrade from 2204 to 2404, and it was like 1,700 packages.
Yeah.
And yeah, it actually worked, but screw Ubuntu.
Yeah, that's why she's running Windows. Okay, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. She can use Manjaro for everything else. It's not Manjaro. It's the computer. So this much we have
issue. That's right.
That's cool. All right. So if anybody has any feedback to send us, positive, negative, questions, whatever, in the future, we will be happy to answer those on the show. Send them our way. And of course, we have a phone number too, 1-909-547-7469. If you want to send us some voicemail, that hasn't been used in a long, long time. But that's because I don't think people listen to the outro. So maybe we need to put this information up front.
Yeah.
But
tune out
anyway,
too quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So my light is still on in here, and my light means that Cheryl is not at her desk. So I think that means I might have to do the social media stuff for her. So I will go ahead and do that. Let's see. Yeah, she's not unmuting, so she's not at her desk. In that case, I'll do the new subscribers, supporters, and live participants. There's only a few of them anyway, so no big deal. On Patreon, we had Clayton Workman, who was a subscriber, apparently dropped off briefly and then came back on. So welcome back. We really appreciate you being a Patreon. We have no free Patreons join, no folks over on Twitter. On Instagram, we had Eleon Guth, who is my cousin, so that doesn't really count, but whatever. We'll take all the people we can get. On Mastodon, nobody. On Blue Sky, nobody. On the mailing list, we had a couple of folks join us, Keith Tilley and Victor Lindberg. On Discord, we had N4FOX, the Fox. And we had Jake, W4EWO. So thanks for joining us over there on Discord. And in the live chat, we had Woody, KC1VOP, Mike, K6GTE, John, K1BTZ, Jared, W7AQB, and Bike Me. That's with a K. So, all right. And my light went off. That means Cheryl is here, right? She's going to unmute and we'll hear her voice, right? I think.
All right. Sure.
Okay, excellent. That means I don't have to say you disappeared and you're on assignment, like in the middle of the show.
In the middle of the show, yeah.
But anyway, we're down to the end of the show. So thanks, everybody, for listening. We really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this edition of The Weekender, the 133rd edition of said Weekender. And we hope you'll join us next week for our deep dive episode. And in the meantime, have a great week, and maybe we'll talk to you all soon over on Discord or perhaps somewhere else. And in the meantime, go chase some stuff. Chase some ODAs, chase some contests, work some CW, whatever. Get in your, ham radio reps, and we'll talk to you again real soon. And with that, we'll get on out of here. This has been episode number 593 of Linux in the Ham Shack, and I'm Russ, K5TUX.
I'm Cheryl, W5MOO.
And I'm Bill, NE4RD 73.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Linux in the Ham Shack. LHS is a community-sponsored podcast. Live recordings are Sunday nights at 8 o'clock Central Time. Our homepage can be found at lhspodcast.info. You can support the podcast via Patreon at patreon.com/LHS podcast. We're also on Discord, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Mastodon. Contact us via email at info@lhspodcast.info or via voicemail at 1909-547-7469. That's 1909 LHS show. We also have merch. So until next we meet, remember to always heed your hedonism.